I was still sort of figuring out which lane I wanted to be in. I just knew that there was like a performative aspect of it that, you know, I wanted to be on stages. Um, so yeah, that's kind of what the development was like.
All right, so you're like basically kind of discovering your identity. You don't really know what you want to do yet, but you know you want to perform because of school plays and stuff. If
Yeah.
I, so, at what point do you discover, yo, I actually want to start writing poetries or getting into the rap or anything like that? Do you remember that moment?
Man, that was a little bit down the line. I would say around like grade seven. Yeah. So my buddy David Benamu, who unfortunately passed away, I have him tattooed on my arm. Um, he's the one who gave me like my first hip hop CD kind of thing. Uh, he gave me like a burnt copy of Eminem's Encore, and then just like something about the rage on all the raps and just being able to just say crazy shit appealed to me. I think I was like an edgy kid for sure. So yeah, I don't know, something about that CD, gave me the itch, and I started writing a lot. And then fortunately, I had a neighbor who was a member of the legendary group Northern Lights Five, um, and he kind of
Sick.
coached me. Yeah, you know Northern Lights.
Well, I happen to be day job colleagues with Justice for a
Oh,
couple of
right, right,
years.
right, right, right,
So me and
right.
Justice, I would say we're buddies. I don't want to be like we're tight, but we're like somewhere between acquaintance and friend, depending on circumstance.
Yeah, no, I get you. Yeah, yeah. So exactly, Saji was my neighbor,
Yeah, that's
and
sick.
he coached me on like because I was coming out the gate trying to be like a trying to write gangster shit, and I'm like this 13-year-old little Jewish boy, and he's like, bro, that's not you. Like, first of all, nah, and he kind of coached me and like told me what was what, and he burnt me like a hip hop education CD, with all the classics, a little Wu Tang on there, Nas and Jay Z. Um, and then from there, yeah, I just sort of dived into the hip hop side of things, and I don't know, like it was like a new immediate
So,
outlet
so
for
you were
me to being
like,
able to write.
as of like 13, just like writing raps,
Yeah, 12, 13.
and you just happen to be next to somebody that's established. So already you're like, I'm gonna take this seriously, and started getting like advice on how to approach this. Cause yo, I knew like when I met you were like 17, 18, and you already had a disc out. So this kind of like adds some context into how you get your shit together that quickly to be able to be in such a position. So it's crazy, like 13 and already willing to go. And then thankfully somebody was like, check yourself a little bit, maybe do something that's a little bit more you. Man, so you're basically an active artist since 2013, or does it like take a couple years to really get started?
It took a couple years because like I started in grade seven, so like as I'm still working my way through high school and shit, I'm probably not at my most depth, but man, just the way you frame that right there, you got me thinking like, yo, that is pure circumstance and luck, and like, man, I'm grateful for that and fortunate because, man, if it wasn't for Saji, I don't think I would have been brought into the studio at the age I was brought into, which wouldn't have given me my ability to like enunciate the way I do and just like learn from an early age and how to mold my sound. Um, yeah, man, I don't know, shit's just crazy. It's a journey.
Yeah, just a quick tangential question. How old were you when you wrote "Meet Me at the Park"?
I think I was around like 18.
Fair.
Yeah, 18, 19.
That's a cool.
Fuck boy age.
All right, so let's go back to like you're 13, 14. You're basically learning the basics of it. How do you get beats and stuff, or are you just kind of just writing the rap side?
What was that site called? I think there was a site called like Hot Beats or Fat Beats or something. That I used to like scour for hours and shit. But then I knew that I wanted to get to a place where I made my own shit. And I think I decided that around like 13. I was like, no, no, no. It would be doper if I was in charge of like what I was making. And so I started out just fucking around on like Acid Pro, back when I had a PC. And that was like one of the old beat programs. And then I think I fucked around with Fruity Loops for a minute. And back in the MySpace days, there was this group that was like living in my area that I was following, that I was a huge fan of. I think they went by 514 Indo, and I started talking to their producer. I'm like, well, what do you use? And he told me all about Reason, and then I've been a Reason head since. I got the fucking damn tattoo.
Yo, you take that tatted on me song really fucking serious, eh? It was like
It's like a corporate love song for like, yo, I'll get your brand tatted on.
That's a fucking incredible. So 13 years old, already making beats or deciding to make beats. And we're talking pre-YouTube era, right? Or beginning of YouTube era. No, maybe pre-YouTube.
There weren't no tutorials or nothing, that's for sure. But yeah, like early YouTube. Fuck yeah. Like I think I posted one of my first songs on YouTube was probably Lonely Avenue, which was like I had this Ray Charles sample that I flipped and made a whole video around it. It's an awkward 15-year-old with braces.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, no, but like I don't even think you realize how incredible all of this really is as far as like an ambition point of view goes, or like a willingness. Like not a lot of people are just like, yo, I'm gonna just start doing all of this at 13 by myself. Usually the story is I met a person or this happened or a circumstance. Hell, in my case, it's, yo, Myer Clarity hooks me up with a beat one day. Like all of these things kind of play into it, and you're like 13 and you're like just pushing it. So how do you like learn how to make beats?
Man, it was just like, it was hours of making shitty beats and just like figuring it out. But yeah, like going back to what you said, I mean, I did technically meet someone, you know, my neighbor upstairs brought me to the studio, and then going to the studio, you know, that like helped mold me. And you know how like there's this relationship between artist and engineer where you're always trying to like bring your A game because you want that feedback in addition to like leaving with a recorded product. And you're always like, okay, well, that's the first person who's going to hear my record is their ears. So I got to come with, you know, bars that are going to impress so-and-so. So yeah. That's definitely where like my head was at.
So I gotta respond to that. So yo, Ghostface man, that Myer does production and Myer does rapping and Myer, I believe, engineers, and he's pretty fucking a powerhouse. And one of the his performances, debatably one of the best I've seen in the local scene in Montreal in the history of Montreal's local scene. I made the mistake of competing against him one time. Not a good look for a concert if you want to, unless you're okay with not winning. Anyway, but
sounds regardless.
Nah, it was a good time. I had a lot of fun with it. But Myer does a lot of things. He's pretty powerhouse, which is kind of like less surprising when you realize he's been like pushing it since he's 13 years old. Which is like, okay, fair enough. And even that attitude of coming through with the engineer. Honestly, I never one time thought that in my life. Like I give it, like I had to impress the engineer in that regard, or like I never heard that before. So even like that to me is like this like nifty way that you approach the world that allows you to create maybe a higher quality project. Like I'll never forget seeing you in the studio working on Glassy Eyed Like a Monocle's ad lib. And I'd never seen anybody like, and I'd never seen it before.
You remember things better than I do.
I don't really drink as much as other people drink. And believe it or not, if you start weed as an adult, it does not fuck up your memory.